Okay, so today we will cover dropping columns. Suppose you have requirement, okay, to drop columns of a data frame. Okay, so we will see how we can drop columns from a data frame. So let's import pandas. Okay, it is already imported. Now read data from your CSV file. Okay, so in previous session we used rs.csv file. We loaded data from iris.csv file into pandas data frame. So let's use the same file. So use pd dot read csv and pass in the name of the file. So we want to load data from iris.csv and store reference in a object. Let's name it iris. Run this cell. Okay, so this cell executed successfully. Now to verify that the data set has loaded successfully, okay, we can use the head function. Okay, we discussed head function, okay, in previous session. So you can use iris.head. Run this cell. So this head function returns what? It returns the first 5 rows. Run this cell, and these are the first 5 rows, okay, from this data frame. And in this data set we have ID, sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, and species. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. Right. The default value of this n, actually this head function has n parameter, and the default value of n is 5. So by default it returns 5 rows. If you don't provide a value for n, as we are not providing a value for n here, the function automatically returns the first 5 rows. If you want to provide a number explicitly, here iris.head. Now we want head function, head method to return top 10 rows. Okay, it always returns n rows from top. Okay, first n rows. So this time we want this head method to return first 10 rows. So in that case you can set n to 10. Run this cell, and now it returned 10 rows. Okay, index 0 to 9. Right. Now if we want to drop a particular column, okay, we can use the drop method, okay, with the data frame. So here I'll type in iris dot drop. This drop is a method, and then I'll give in the name of the column which I want to drop. So from this entire data frame, this iris data frame, I want to drop this species column. Okay, so give species column here, specify the column that you want to drop. So we want to drop species. Copy and okay, so species column. So we want to drop this column and give the access value also. Okay, so give the access value to be equal to 1. Access equal to 1, because we are dropping a column. So if you are dropping a column, give access to 1. If you are working with rows, then set access to 0. Run the cell, and now in this output, we don't have species column, right? It means from this species column has been dropped. Okay, we set access to 1. If you set access to 1, then you work with column. Okay, so here we dropped the entire column species, right? Here we see that the column species column has been dropped from here, right? So when we give access to be equal to 0, if you set this access to 0, that represents all of the rows. And when we give access to be equal to 1, as we are setting it to 1 here, that represents all of the columns. Okay, so if we set it to 0, then that represents all of the rows, and if you set it to 1, then that represents all of the columns. Because here we are working with column, we want to drop species column, so we set access to 1. Now we will discuss how to drop rows. We have seen how to drop a column. Okay, now let's see how also see how to drop a row. So all that changes that is needed is the access value. Okay, so here if you want to work with rows, all that changes here is the access value. So for the access value, instead of setting it to be 1, okay, we will set it to be equal to 0 because it corresponds to the rows. So copy this and here we want to drop rows, right? So here given the index of rows, okay, that you want to drop as first parameter. So here create a list and then specify the index of rows. So we want to drop this record, index is 1, this record index is 2, this record index is 3. Okay, so if you have requirement to drop 1, 2, 3 rows, then here you can specify 1, 2 and 3. Okay, index of the rows that you want to drop. Now we want to work with rows. So this access needs to be set to 0. Right? Run this cell. And if you see here, okay, from this entire data frame, okay, we are dropping what? Row numbers 1, 2, 3, means index value is 1, 2, 3. Initially we have these values, okay, where index has 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now here, okay, you see we have dropped the index 1, 2 and 3. So after 0 we directly have a jump at 4, right? So this is how you can drop rows. If you want to drop rows 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, index 2, 3, 4, 5, what you can do is here copy this and change index values. This time we want to drop 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 rows. Okay, so here you can specify 2, 3, 4 and 5. Access 0. Okay, it means rows. Run this cell and if you see here we have 0, we have 1 and 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rows are not there and then directly we have 6. So we have dropped all the rows from index value 2 to 5. So this is how you can drop rows. In the previous session, we covered some of the pandas functions, okay, like mean, min, median, and standard deviation. Okay, so let's use those functions again. and then we can discuss more functions. So here, if you want to find out the mean of sepal length, this column, okay, use object name rs, specify the column name here, sepal length dot mean to find out the mean of this column, run this cell, and this value is the mean of this column. Okay, let's copy this, and now to find out the min value, okay, you can use min, run this cell, and min is 4.3. This 4.3 is the minimum value. Okay, and to find out the max, you can use max, run this cell, and max is 7.9. Okay, and to find out the standard deviation, okay, you can call std function, run this cell, and standard deviation is 0.82806. Okay, so this is how you can, okay, use these functions, okay, to find mean, min, median, standard deviation, max, right? Now we will work with the apply method. Okay, apply method basically works on different columns. Suppose you have a function and you want to apply that function on different columns in a data frame. Okay, in that case you can use apply method. So if you want to perform a same function on the different columns of a pandas data frame, okay, that is when you will be using the apply method. So suppose you want to double the values of this sepal length and this petal length. Okay, you want to double these values. So initial value is let's print iris dot head. Okay, and print 10 rows n equal to 10. We want to print 10 rows. Run this cell. So here sepal length is 5.1, 4.9, 4.7, 4.6, 5.0. Okay, and the petal length is 1.4, 1.4, 1.3, 1.5, 1.4. So suppose we want to double the values of these values in sepal length and these values in petal length. Okay, then what you will do is create a user defined function. To create a user defined function, okay, we can use def keyword, right? Then give it a name. So let's name it double size and accept one parameter. So suppose parameter is sj size colon, and next line we can compute result. Okay, or we can use return statement directly because it will be a simple expression. Okay, so result equals to sj star operator 2. So here we are multiplying the value of the sj, okay, by 2, and then we can return result. Run this cell. So we have created a function. So it's a user defined function. Okay. So here we want to double the values of sepal length and petal length. Okay. And for that, okay, to do that actually we have created a user defined function. Okay. We have named this function double size, right? Now, and it will take a parameter, right? Parameter is sj, and it will multiply the value of sj by 2 and then return the result. So here in this statement it will multiply the value of hz by 2, and then in the last statement it will return the result, right? Now if you want to apply this function to sepal length and petal length, okay, these two columns, sepal length and petal length, right? What you can do is, okay, all you have to do is use what? The object rs, pass in the names of the columns, okay, to which you want to apply this function. So we want to apply this function to two columns. Okay, first column is sepal length. First column is sepal length, and second column is petal length. So we want to apply this function on two columns. Okay, sepal length and petal length, right? These two columns of this data frame, iris data frame. And then here use a dot operator and then invoke the apply method, right? And inside this method pass in the function which you want to apply to this data frame columns. So we want to apply this function double size. We want to apply this double size. Okay, run this cell, and here if you see initial value sepal length, in sepal length column initial value is 5.1, now we have 10.2. For 4.9 becomes 9.8, 4.7 becomes 9.4, 4.6 becomes 9.2, and similarly in petal length column 1.4 becomes 2.8, 1.4 2.8, 1.3 becomes 2.6, 1.5 becomes 3.0, right? So this is how you can apply a function, okay, to multiple columns of the data frame. Here we are applying this function double size, okay, to two columns, sepal length and petal length. Okay, you can specify column names on which you want to apply this function here in square brackets and use dot operator, then call apply function, apply method, and pass in the name of the function, okay, that you want to apply on these specified columns, right? Now we will discuss more pandas functions. Okay, we have some more functions here. So we have the value counts function, we have the sort values function. Okay, now let's say if we want to know the frequency of a categorical column. Okay, in the iris dataset, the species is the categorical column. Okay, so a non-numerical column is said to be a categorical column. So these are numerical columns, ID, sepal length, okay, these are numerical values, sepal width, okay, these are numerical values, okay, but species has non-numerical values, okay, this is iris, setosa, okay. So if you have a column in your data frame which doesn't have numerical values, okay, that column is said to be what? A categorical column. So this, in this data frame we have this species column which is categorical, right? So in this column we have three categories. I'll show you actually those three values. So we have setosa that we are seeing here. This is setosa. We have versicolor and we have virginica also. So here we want to know the distribution of these three categories. So I said there are three different values in this column, in species column. One of them is setosa, right? So we want to know the distribution of these values, okay, means three categories in this column. Or if we want to know how many values are present with respect to these different categories, then we can use the value counts method. So here what we can do is the data frame object name rs, and then you can specify the column name. Okay, so here we want to work with one column only, so we can specify the column here, so that is species. Now here select species. So iris within square brackets we have specified species, so we have selected one column, dot operator, value counts. So value counts is a function. Use value counts. What we are actually we are calling value counts to count the different values, different categories and species column of this data frame, iris data frame. Okay, run this cell and see. So we see that there are 50 counts in the Setosa category. This is Setosa category. There are 50 counts and there are 50 counts in versicolor. This is versicolor. So we have 50 values. Okay, 50 count of versicolor in this column. And Virginica, this is for this we have okay 50 count. Okay, so we can use value counts okay to find out the or to know the distribution of okay different values in a categorical column, right? Now if we want to sort our data frame with respect to a particular column, right? So suppose we have requirement okay to sort our data okay or that data frame okay with respect to some column, then we can use the sort values method. Okay, so we want to sort our data frame, this iris data frame with respect to sepal length, this column, sepal length column, right? So here if you see, let's run the head, iris dot head, set n to 10. Okay, we want it to return 10 rows. So here if you see these values are not sorted. Sepal length 5.1, 4.9, 4.7, 4.6, 5.0, 5.4, right? So if you want to sort these rows in this data frame, okay, with respect to these values or any column values, okay, you can use sort values method. So here use rs the object name and then call sort values and pass. Now here you can specify the column name. You can specify the column okay with respect to which you want the rows to be sorted. So here we want the rows to be sorted, this data frame to be sorted okay by suppose sepal length. So what you can do is here you can pass this sepal length here and set by. So here we are specifying what? We are setting by parameter to this. So we want the data frame to be sorted by sepal length column, right? Run this cell and we see now values are sorted 4.3, 4.4, 4.4, 4.4, 4.5. Okay, so values are sorted in ascending order. Now see IDs. Okay, IDs order has changed 14, 9, 43, 39, 42. Okay, because now this data frame is sorted with respect to sepal length column, right? So inside the sort values function, okay, you can use by parameter, okay, to specify the column with respect to which you want the data frame to be sorted, the rows to be sorted. So here we can see the values are going from minimum to maximum. Okay, so minimum value is 4.3, maximum is 7.9, and we used min max functions if you remember. Okay, here we can check. Min is 4.3, sepal length, minimum value is 4.3, and maximum value is 7.9. Right, so these records now data frame rows are sorted with respect to the sepal length. Right, so by default, the pandas sorts your data in ascending order. Okay, if you want to sort your data in descending order, okay, set ascending parameter to false. So this function has one ascending parameter. Copy this, paste, and here use ascending. Okay, the default value of this parameter is true. Ascending is true. Okay, but if you want this data frame to be sorted in descending order with respect to the specified column, okay, you can set it to false. Set it to false, run the cell, and now if you see sepal length 7.9, the maximum value 7.7, 7.7, 7.7, 4.5, and 4.3, the minimum value, okay, is the last. Right, so this is how you can sort a data frame in descending order. Okay, you can use this ascending parameter, and its default value is true. So its default value, if you don't provide it, okay, its default value is true. Right, okay, we can use the data frame like data frame attributes like index, columns, and values, okay, to assign the index, columns, and data to their own variables. So suppose you want to get index data, okay, in a separate variable. So you can write here rs dot index, so it will give you index. Let's store it in index. Okay, run the cell and then print out index. So here if you see, this index is a range index type. Right, it is range index object type. So start is 0. So if you, let's add one cell here and iris dot head, okay, first 5 records. So here start is 0, stop is 150, and step is 1. Step is 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, step is 1, start is 0, and stop is 150. So this is index. Right. Now if you want to get the column, iris dot columns, and let's assign them to columns variable, run the cell. Now print out columns, run the cell, and see these are the columns in this data frame. Okay, so we have id, we have sepal length, we have sepal width, petal length, petal width, and species, and data type is object. Right, so this is how, okay, you can get the columns, okay, from a data frame. And if you want to get the values, the data, okay, so here you can use rs dot values and assign it to data. Run this cell. Okay, now we have extracted what? values and assign to data. Let's print out data. So if you see here, this is data. Okay. If you see first record 1, 5.1, 3.5, 1.4, 0.2, RS, Setosa. So we have 1, 5.1, 3.5. Okay, so this is first row's data. This is second row's data, right? So now we have data in data variable. Okay, you can check the type also. Okay, their types. Like if you want to check the type of index, this variable, okay, you can use type function and here pass index. So the type of index is pandas dot core dot indexes dot range index. Okay, so its type is range index. Now check type of columns. Type of columns. So the data type of column, the type of column is pandas dot core dot indexes dot base dot index, right? And if you want to check the type of data, type of data, this is numpy and dimensional array. So in pandas, data is always numpy array. Okay, we have already covered numpy, right? So when you are working with pandas, the values that you have in your pandas data frame, the data is always numpy and the array, right? Both the types of both the index and the columns, okay, appear to be closely related. This index and columns are closely related. So to check the types of these columns or to check whether these are related, okay, what you can do is we have a built-in method, okay, inbuilt method, okay, is sub class. So here you can use to check whether these two index and columns are related. Okay, you can use is sub class. And then you can pass the pd dot. So this is, if you see, this is range index type. This is pandas core dot indexes dot range index. So here you can write pd dot range index. Now actually we are going to check whether this index and these columns are related. Okay, so pd dot, this is index type, this is index. So here we can use pd dot index. Okay, and if you run this, it is saying true. Yes, range index and this index are related, closely related, right? So this built-in function is subclass method, okay, checks whether the range index is indeed a subclass of index, right? This range index is subclass of this index, right? So we have completed the pandas topic. Okay, we will be using NumPy and pandas very frequently when we will be working with machine learning algorithms. Right, so that's all for this session and thank you for joining. Okay, see you in the next session.